Yesterday's episode was, by all means, not my best, and that's okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Parking Lot Philosophy, the only show where yesterday's episode is pertinent to the discussion. I would say yesterday's episode might not be my best. Felt like the points I was trying to get across about, doing experimentation in your life, trying new things, how valuable that can be, really didn't come across. I also kept bringing up things that were not important, I feel. Um, and that kind of got me thinking. I was thinking throughout the day. I was like, man, that was not my best. Um, that if we're looking at it as the way YouTube would analyze metrics, some episodes I feel like I'm a 1 out of 10. That means it's the best out of the last 10 of your uploads. Yesterday felt like a 10 out of 10. It was not, and not good in YouTube sense. It was the 10th video in my last 10 uploaded. Not accurate, obviously. However, that's just how I felt. And it really got me thinking, and it kind of reminded me there's this phrase that I hear a lot, especially with content creation or art or really a lot of different fields. And it's do it before you do it perfect. And I think the greatest example is anytime you see someone who's maybe blocking out a video game environment or shaping like a character that they're going to draw or things like this. It's always the very base shapes first, and then they start to go in and add all of those details. And it's one of those things that I feel like I don't apply to my life enough. A lot of times, the things I'm doing, I'm trying to, in my head, even the research that I'm doing before I make something, all of the scenarios that need to be perfect before I even sit down and try and do some art. Even something as simple as this podcast, where I pull into a parking spot before work and I press record. Even that, I have instances where I'm like, well, do I need to park in the shade today? Do I not need to park in the shade? Oh, that wasn't like the best intro. Maybe I need to do it again. It's one of those things where it is really daunting and tough, and it actually makes the whole process even harder because it's not just anymore, let me just do this process. This process that is already an extension of my day, already changes everything I'm doing, already takes a lot of energy because, I'm having to more or less develop this conversation as we go. It then takes it to another extreme, and then I'm thinking, okay, was that good enough? Do I need to redo it? Things like that. And really, I would say after the first few episodes, I no longer am at that case where I'm redoing any of the episodes. I think maybe that first journaling episode, the one where it's like, I think I called it like struggling with the ops. That one I think is the only one I can say like I did re-record the whole thing, and it's because later, so I think I had recorded that episode like a day or two before, and then I was like, thinking about it, I should have just used my journal as like showing my journal, because that's what the whole episode was about. So then I ended up redoing that one. Um, so anyway, point being, you should start with just getting it done. I think that's like the best thing we can do for ourselves. Just start it, work on it, and then you'll eventually get it perfect and work its way there. I've been thinking about this a lot lately too, not just for personal things, like not just like, oh, I should just start working out instead of worrying that, oh, it's not the right time, or I didn't do this or that or whatever to work out. I've been thinking it also too for work in terms of like the projects I'm working on. I talked a few days ago, which it might be longer at this point, about time, and specifically how I felt like after lunch, my entire day was wasted if my morning was wasted. And then the reality is that's not true. I have a whole second half of my day, a whole nother 4 hours that I can be way more productive in. It has really helped me, that mindset shift. But now also too, I'm wondering, you know, because I'm trying to do things so perfectly, and I think that's why, like I thought, if my day stuck at the start, then all of a sudden the rest of my day is ruined. That's not the case. I'm just doing the day. But the thing I've been thinking about, there are a lot of parts of my job that are very like strategic oriented, especially during the summer. We do a lot of our strategic plans and things like that right now. And so I am thinking about all of the things that we did from this year. Our fiscal year is July through, June is July through June is our fiscal year. I've been thinking about everything that we've done this year and then everything we're going to do next year. And so it is kind of an interesting struggle, but what I've kind of realized, it's still too bright, is I'm doing all this research to create this strategic plan. And yes, that's important. It's important to have data to back your points and things like that. But I almost think just as importantly, I should just like make a strategic plan first and then find the actual data. And I'm not saying I should like make a very falsified strategic plan and then I have to go back and change everything. But I just mean even like the structure of a strategic plan. Like I should probably put in like, our goals, and I should probably put in the other stuff. And then I can actually outline, okay, here are what our goals are, increase, whatever to this. Let's figure out a strategy based on some data. And so it's one of those things where I almost feel like this can apply to anything. Like if you just do it and then you worry about doing it perfect, you will be set up for success so amazingly. There's this like content creation challenge going on right now. And so I have a gaming channel. I think I've mentioned that. And so there's this content creation challenge going on and I've been like kind of working on that. The deadline's coming up. Maybe in a future video, I will let you know how that goes. But that being said, there's this challenge going on and it's so tough for me because a lot of ways, especially with gaming content, I can be very like nitpicky of my stuff. And so a lot of times I'm releasing it when I don't think it's, fully there. I do think my content is fairly good and I think the comments kind of show that. But that being said, I'm like, this isn't always something that I think super fun. Now, when I do think it is, I have a blast with it. And so that's gotten me thinking of like, what is it that's the difference between the videos that like I really enjoy and the videos that I don't enjoy, or the videos that I even just enjoy the experience on versus the videos that I don't enjoy the experience on, which are two very different things. I tend to like the videos of mine that like are more scripted. They have a lot of jokes in them. I'm experimenting a lot with like different like shots or scenes or things like that. But on the flip side, the videos that I almost feel like are more fun to make are the ones that I'm not dragging out, the ones that I'm not worrying about like everything being perfect, the ones that I'm just kind of go. I enjoy the experience so much better. And so I've been trying to meet like a happy balance. But I think the other thing I've realized is the reason the like hyper edited videos that I make, the reason those ones I don't enjoy making as much doesn't actually have to do with the style of them or the scripting or things like that, because I enjoy script writing. It's actually because I drag out the process so long, because I wait for these perfect scenarios, because I wait to have the perfect A-roll in the video, because I wait to get all my gaming clips before I even worry about recording. It's one of those things where the process is so much worse. Whereas if I flip it, if I go, okay, I'm going to just get stuff recorded and then I'm going to fix things as I need. And I can do that. I'm fortunate to where I'm not fiscally or I'm not tied financially to my YouTube channel. So I don't necessarily have to worry about it being successful every time or being posted so often. But it's one of those things, like it's really gotten me thinking about just getting things out there, just putting things out in the world. Like I'm talking in a very like non-artistic way, but even in an artistic way, in a philosophical way, like actually thinking about things, like getting your thoughts out there, even just, in your life, like very, very simply, just getting something done before worrying it's perfect is going to be way better. Putting your laundry stuffing it into your closet or your drawers is going to be way better than it just moving from your bed to the basket to the chair, like in a cycle of repeating. It's better if you just kind of poorly put it away than it is if you put it away perfectly. And then eventually you'll build up your way towards actually doing it perfect. I think I've talked about the 80-20 rule probably a lot. It's one of my favorite like pieces of advice / rules. But that is very much at the heart what I'm talking about here, where you put in like you get 80% of effort from like 20% of the work, I think is what the original like quote is, or proverb, or whatever we want to call it. But the example that I usually use too, or that I've heard a lot, is that you should try and get to 80% of your ability, because that last 20% doesn't really account for very much. And so that's one of the things, if like you can get to like just getting it done, like 80%, you've got it blocked out, you've got the things you want there. Generally, that's honestly fine just to get it there. And another great one, good is the enemy of great. I've also heard the opposite, where great is the enemy is good. I've heard both from very similar places. Good is the enemy of great is because if you're like, okay, it's good enough, I'm just going to leave it there. But then there's also great is the enemy of good, where it's you're so focused on greatness that you don't allow something to be good, that it doesn't even reach that area. And so that's one of the things, like there's all these interesting and very similar thoughts that have just been described in different ways, all about how you just need to get something out there before you even worry about it being perfect. So I think this podcast is great, partially just because of that. It's a great way for me to exercise my thoughts, to think a little bit more on my drive here. On my commute is when I'm thinking about these things. So that's why if I start to get excited and I start to kind of understand my own thought more by the end of the episode, that is why, because we are talking. We are figuring it out together. The car is getting very hot. It is summer and I'm in the sun. I parked in the shade yesterday, and maybe I should have done it today. But anyway, that is what I'm talking about. Just getting things out there, having things exist before you worry about them being perfect. So if there's a project that you want to do, go ahead and do it. If there's like a piece of art that has been in your head for a while, go ahead and make it. If you want to hang out with friends, hang out with friends. Don't worry about having the perfect plan or perfect reason to get together. If you need any help with anything that I can help with, if you're listening on Spotify or anywhere else, head to the YouTube, because that's where I'm going to actually check for comments. I think you can technically leave comments on Spotify, but I might not notice them as quickly. So if you have anything, whether it's content, art, you just want to talk, go ahead and leave a comment, because I'm here. I'm here. We're all doing it together. We are doing things together. Bye for now.